Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday, and welcome to welcome back to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. My name is Howard Pinsky. I'm a senior XD evangelist here at Adobe, and a big good morning to everyone who's joining us live on Behance. If you are tuning in live, definitely let me know in the chat. We've got some awesome regulars. We've got a lot of new people joining us, including Larry and Christina and Chia, Anthony, Agnes, Nadine, Milan, a lot of awesome people. If you are joining us live, let me know where you're tuning in from. I am live from mostly sunny and a little bit cold Los Angeles this morning, but I can't complain too much. And whoa, look at all these people coming in. Paul and Christine, Jasmine, Caroline, and Anzi. Awesome. Well, I'm really excited for all of you to join me this morning on a beautiful Tuesday morning, 8:30 in the morning. Probably not 8:30 where you all are. Jaren, welcome. A lot of awesome regulars. Natasha from Ontario, my hometown. I love it. One day I'll get back there. We have an awesome lineup for you. Not only the Daily Creative Challenge, but also we have some awesome UI and Photoshop. Amazing people coming up today and tomorrow and Thursday. So if you want to, get in on that, definitely check out the schedule. I did have it on here, but it doesn't seem to be working. But there's a schedule tab right above me. Right after this stream, some great Photoshop people, including Paul Tranny, is going to be on doing some Photoshop stuff. So if you're into that, definitely tune in. But what do we have planned for today? So let me hop over to my screen for a second. And this is the Daily Creative Challenge landing page, behance.net/Daily Creative Challenge. And the first thing you'll notice is a big blue button at the top. Hit that big blue button, register so you're notified when we release new challenges every single day at 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. You're gonna get a brand new challenge. And it's really there to help you sharpen up your UI and UX skills, maybe learn something new. We have a lot of people who are learning Adobe XD for the first time and are diving in with these challenges, which is super cool. We've run a bunch in the past, and typically every single day we release a new challenge, and you challenge you to do something different every day, and they're not necessarily connected. Maybe we're gonna switch things up a little bit this time. We'll see. You might pick up on some hints from time to time. So each day you're going to receive a new challenge, and I'll go over today's challenge in a second. And you're going to join me bright and early, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, maybe a little bit later where you are, maybe earlier depending on where you are. And I'm going to kind of introduce you to the challenge every single day. And I try to, show some of the cool things that have been submitted over the last few days every single morning. And Kevin from Denver, I'm going to be in Denver in a few weeks actually. And you're going to create a prototype, and sometimes a prototype, sometimes just a design using Adobe XD, and you're going to share it on Behance using the keyword XD Daily Challenge. And the reason this is so important is so that we can find it. We want to see all of your stuff. We want to showcase it. And next Friday, when this challenge comes to an end on March 1st, we're going to look through and we're going to showcase a lot of the challenges that have come in over the last 2 weeks. And, I always say, if you don't get these things in by March 1st, don't worry too much about it. It's not a contest, not a competition, you're not winning anything, but it's really there so you can sharpen up your skills, build your portfolio, learn new things. So if it takes you a few extra days to do some of the challenges, don't worry, just keep at it and have a good time. You can grab XD completely for free, which is fun, can't beat that. And you can join our Slack community, and this is the thing I love the most. So here's our Slack channel. We have an announcement section, which Lee just announced that I am live. Hey, I am live. An introduction section, which we have 13,445 people. That's insane. I hope not all of those people are watching me right now. That would freak me out. You can ask questions, you can chat, you can give feedback, and one thing we want to do a little bit differently for the feedback section this time is we want you all to pay it forward. So in addition to telling us exactly what you want feedback on, so don't just post a link and then hope feedback comes in. It really helps people, especially our mentors. Chris Cannon is in the chat right now. Kevin is saying, hopefully it's warmer when you're out here than it is now. Oh, I hope so. So we have a bunch of mentors. Chris Cannon, I was just talking to Peter Del Tondo and a few others who are in there giving feedback. Really let them know what feedback you want for each specific project. But then when you get feedback, dive in, give feedback to somebody else, pay it forward. be a good citizen, right? So that's Slack. Definitely join there, and you can get there with this beautiful link right up here. Boop. bit.ly/XD Slack. And it's a good time. It's quite a good time. So what are we doing today? Well, today's challenge is to create a design system for a music player mobile app and save it as a reference file. And, you know, it might come in handy in the future, maybe within these next 2 weeks, maybe even every single day. I don't know. I'm not hinting at anything, am I? Maybe I am. So grab the template. Some people were having issues downloading it. Make sure to clear your cache because we just uploaded this about half an hour ago, so it might be still propagating throughout magical servers of Adobe land. Clear your cache, grab it. You can also watch the video after this is done to see what we did during this magical stream. So let's dive into it because we have less than half an hour to design a complete design system, which honestly is not going to happen. But what is a design system? So here's the template that you are all given. Let me make this a little bit bigger. And this was provided by the amazing Marissa Blair, who's also one of our mentors. She was hosting a while ago. She might be in the chat. If you see her, say hi and say thank you. So here's this very in-depth, amazing design system template. And I've heard a lot of people talk about design systems as somewhat of a style guide. And I think it's a lot more than just a style guide. It's really a series of components, and of course, there are styles, but there's also colors and navigation bars and buttons and controls. It's really everything you need to keep your project consistent, especially if you're working with a team of people. You want them to have access to all of this magical stuff, right? The stuff that's going to help them build out whatever it is they're building out. And in this case, it's a music player for a mobile phone or a tablet. And what's really neat is we have link symbols in Adobe XD. So you are able to basically become the master of, and Andy's saying, is it a lean style guide? That's a whole different story, Andy. And it's reference to one of our amazing Slack conversations that we just had. But we have link symbols in Adobe XD. And that allows you to become the master of this design system, so that if some of your other coworkers are using this system, which you can share via the cloud or locally, once you update as the master of this design system, once you update this document, it's going to allow everyone else to get those changes and apply them. So you only have to update these symbols once, and it's going to just, update everywhere else, not just on your document, but everyone else's document. So, and if you don't, Paul's asking, I don't know what a design system is, and a lot of designers don't. It's something that, it's been around for a while, but the term has really been floating around pretty heavily over the last few years. So definitely, dive in. There's some great documentation, great video on what a design system is. I can talk about this for hours, but we have like 20 minutes left to get this done. So here's kind of what we're looking at. So we have a few different things, and a design system could have more things, less things, but we have a mood board to kind of get you inspired on what you're designing. We have some typography, colors, icons, bars, like navigation bars, title bars, that sort of thing, controls, play buttons, volume, sliders, and then we have some buttons down here. So we're going to, throw a bunch of things in here, and again, 20 minutes left. So I'm going to do just a little bit of this, but I really want you to kind of really start thinking about what you would throw in a design system and go crazy with it. And, looking at Behance projects, I love when people show off what their design system looks like and what the different components are. So definitely do that. So we are going to start off with a very basic mood board. This is going to be super basic. I'm going to hop over to Chrome. And, I just searched music mobile app in Chrome, and there's so many amazing designs. There's dark UIs, there's light UIs. Some you might be very familiar with, like Apple Music. That's not a bad one. So I'm just going to grab this, drag this into XD, and just pop this here. Mood boards don't have to be very exciting. Think of them like scrapbooks that you kind of want to get inspiration from. So just throw it in there. And hey, Heather, welcome. Also one of our awesome regulars who has been definitely participating in our challenges. So that looks like a good one. I like some of the elements on this one. So I'm going to pop this in XD as well. Again, doesn't have to be fancy, just throwing them in there. This one looks, I like this element up here where it kind of slides up and allows you to adjust some of the controls. I'll throw that in there as well. All right, so we'll start with this. Maybe let's grab one more. What else looks good? This one looks good. Dark mode with some gradients. How do you not like dark mode and gradients, right? So let me throw that in there. Oh, I can't throw that in there. Well, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to take a screenshot, and I'm going to do it that way. Bam. Paste. Take that. Perfect. All right, so I got my mood board. Again, very basic mood board going on here. Yours will probably look a little bit more in depth. It might make a little bit more sense too. So that's a mood board, great? Looks good. So I kind of want to use this as inspiration, use some of these elements that are going on, maybe some gradients. I always like some gradients. And Pinterest is hey, Roman says mood board, aka Pinterest. Yes, a lot of people do use Pinterest for design inspiration and mood boards. Next up is typography, and you can use system fonts if you really want to. And I may use a few system fonts here and there, but I want to get a little bit fancy. So I'm going to go over to Adobe Fonts. I'm just going to simply browse some fonts, and you have unlimited syncing now with Adobe Fonts, which is magical. I probably want sans serif. I don't want any serif fonts going on. It probably wouldn't look really well with, you know, a music app. Probably not. Maybe it will. I don't know. I challenge you to really create I would love to see some music apps with a serif font. But I came across this font, BC Alpha Pipe. It's an interesting name. I just synced it to my computer, and all you have to do is just press this little guy here. It'll sync all those fonts. I don't really want those fonts, but I'll sync them anyway. But this one kind of stood out to me, so I want to kind of use that for some of the titles of this music app. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm simply going to start typing out, let's say, AA123. I'll make this nice and large. And then over here to the right, what is this, BC? Was that what it's called? I don't remember. It's early. There we go. That looks pretty good. And I'll make that a little bit darker. And maybe I'll do light. There we go. So there's one font. And then right below it, what I can do is I can write BC Alpha font or pipe. Was that what it was? I think so. And there's really no right way to display some of this stuff. Every design system is going to be different. So yours will probably look a lot different than mine, right? So then I can just go down here. This could be title 1. And maybe it'll be, let's say, 44 pixels. And then we'll do a title 2, right? And this will be maybe 32. And then we'll do a title 3. Title 3. I'm zipping along here, making sure, and this maybe, let's say, 24, right? Beautiful. Now we might want one more. So I'm just going to duplicate this downwards. And don't be afraid to duplicate things on your artboard. I'm going to select these two, and maybe this will be the San Francisco font. This one is Apple's font that they use for you know, their iOS apps. So I'm going to do that. That looks good. And I might want a smaller title down here, San Francisco again. You get the idea. San Francisco. And then we might want, let's say, an area text to show off what paragraph looks like. So I'm just going to drag out area text, and I'm going to use one of the plugins. I'm going to use the Lorem Ipsum plugin. Let me go ahead and type something in here, and then Lorem Ipsum, bam, fill with placeholder text, bam, fancy. Let me decrease this to maybe 18 pixels. Light looks okay. And there we go. So we have some character styles. Now, one of the things I love about the assets panel in XD is you can very easily add all of this stuff to your assets at once. So I'm going to simply grab all of this stuff, hop over to your assets panel, and then press the plus button beside character styles. And all that stuff is added there. And I can very easily rearrange this if I want to, but it did come in order. I'm going to name this header, and this might be title 1, title 2, title 3, and this is just placeholder or font name. I can probably even get rid of this one. And also, you can also add the colors. If I really like this color, I can just press the plus button, and there we go. Now, speaking of colors, let's move over here. And there's a few places you can get colors and kind of figure out what colors you want, including Adobe Color or color.adobe.com. I'm not going to play too much with this. I'm just going to go crazy and start adding some colors. So let's go ahead and add a rectangle or a square right here. There we go. I'm going to turn off the border. And for the fill, let's go for, let's say, a red with a little bit of pink. Somewhere right about there. That's a kind of cool color. And I'm going to copy the hex code. So what I want to do is right beside it, I'm just going to paste in the hex code there. And I can use one of my titles if I want to, or let's say the San Francisco font. There we go. And I can also give it a name. What should we name this? Let's name it 99 Red Balloons. Because why not? And maybe this one will be a little bit on the lighter side. Beautiful. So now that that's done, let's actually very quickly create a repeat grid. Just drag this down so we have a few extra colors. And then because we're going to be updating the colors individually, we're actually going to break the grid. So repeat grids is nice. If you are going to be updating some elements individually, you can just use the repeat grid to create them very quickly. But it's pink, not red. It's kind of red. It's red-ish. And then down here, we might have a blue. So let's go for a blue. That's an interesting blue. Let me copy the hex code there. Copy. Paste it there. And this could be called Feelin' Blue. Great. Repeat grid, drink. Yes. And then maybe we want, let's say, a gray with a touch of blue in it. Maybe right about there. A little bit lighter, a little bit of blue. There we go. It's kind of like a gray. So let's call this Macy Gray. Why not? And then I'm going to copy the hex code. Oh, I got to move quickly. We're running out of time, and Paul Tranny and his amazing guests are waiting for me to finish up. All right, let's delete that. Let's assume that we're just going with 3 colors. Of course, you would probably have a lot more colors in your style guide, but what it can do now is just select all of this and press the plus button, and all those colors are now in my assets panel. At any point in the future, if I had many elements with this color, I can easily just right-click, press edit, make those changes, and it'll update across the entire document. Now for icons, there's a lot of places you can get icons, including, Marissa included some resources up here. You can grab some icons. You can even use the Creative Cloud Marketplace to grab icons. To make it quick, I'm going to hop over to Nucleo and just search, let's say, volume. We need some volume buttons or icons. I'm going to drag one in there. We'll probably need this one, drag that in there. We might need a playlist icon. That looks like a good playlist icon. Let's say a play button. That looks pretty good. What else do we need in a music app? We probably need settings. Always need some settings, right? Let's see, where's a gear icon? Come on, settings. I know you're here somewhere. Here, we'll use this one for now. All right. Menu icon, probably. It's not very difficult to make one in Adobe XD, but here we have some icons. And let me line up a few of these. Right. There we go. Select all these. We will distribute them horizontally, distribute them vertically. Oh, that didn't work very well. There we go. We'll do this. We'll do it manually. Why not? All right. And again, when you're designing your design system, you probably have dozens, if not hundreds of icons that you'll use. And once you create them into David, this was Nucleo. It's an application you can download and load in all your icon sets. Once you create these as link symbols, you can basically distribute them throughout all your other documents and make sure you keep them all up to date. So there's a few icons that we're going to be using. Again, not very many. Overnight, I will probably add in a lot more that we'll use. Next up, we have bars, and think of this as like navigation bars or title bars. And so I might want to grab a few title bars from an iOS UI kit, which you can find under the File menu, Get UI Kits, and then iOS, Google Material, Windows, whichever one you're using. And there's a bunch of different ones here. Let me actually grab, let's say, where was that one that I was looking at earlier? This one here. Simple. Copy, paste it over here. And because I do want to make some changes, I'm going to unlink it from the previous document and just make it a little bit bigger. And then here, let's say this would be now playing. And this might be eventually a back button, so we'll just write back for now. And this might be maybe a favorites button. There we go. And I will go ahead and swap these out so they're actual icons. But I might want to apply this color. So I can just, I can select the text, apply my highlight color, just like that. And now I have a title bar. Beautiful. I can go back and forth and grab some additional bars if I wanted to. Let's say this one might be also a back button. Paste this in here, unlink it. You get the idea, right? Creating design systems is a very time-consuming process, which usually can't be done in half an hour, but we're going to do it anyway. And this might be your profile. There we go. And then you can grab a navigation bar down here, paste that in here. I'm gonna go ahead and unlink this, make it a little bit bigger. And let's say this might be your library. Make this area text a touch bigger. This could be search. And we might have profile. And again, I'll probably go ahead and swap those icons out overnight before our stream tomorrow morning. Now, controls, moving, zipping along, these are things like switches or radio buttons or sliders for your audio. So let's very quickly create one. I'm gonna grab my line tool, drag one across the artboard, make the border a little bit bigger, and I'll round out the corners, and I'll make this a little bit gray, somewhere right around there. And then to show the progress, I'm gonna duplicate this, Command and Control D, and then just slide this over and set this to my highlight color. So I'm gonna right click, apply as border, and this is the progress of that song. And I'm gonna make a nice little ellipse right here to show my scrubber head. Don't need a border. I can use my fancy new eyedropper shortcut, I, and then maybe make this a little bit lighter. And I kind of like that color, so I'm gonna make sure to add that to my assets as well. So there's a very simple scrubber. I'm gonna make sure to group this, Command and Control G, and I can see this in my assets panel, and this could be scrubber. And let's very quickly do a switch, because we're running out of time. I need more time. There we go. Drag this. Beautiful. Let's make this, let's say a little bit on the darker side. This will be the off switch. And then make a lovely little circle. Put that over there. And maybe we'll add a little bit of a drop shadow. It's not the nicest looking drop shadow, but you get the idea. Beautiful. And then we can duplicate this over here and move this to the side. We'll have this as our highlight color, and this will be a little bit lighter. There we go. And we might want a little bit of a border, just a very subtle border, just like that, and that's the on state. And again, I'm going to make sure to, I'm going to make sure to group all this stuff. This is switch on. This will be switch. Switch. No, I can't spell under pressure. Off. And then once these are created and we're happy with them, I lost my chat, here we go. Once we're happy with these, I'm not super happy, but let's pretend we're happy with this. We can actually turn this into a symbol. So back in my assets, I'm gonna press the plus button beside symbol, and now it's a symbol. So at any point in the future, if I have all these across all my documents and I decide to make the change to the color, maybe I don't like my highlight color, you'll notice all of those symbols update because they're all symbols. That's an ugly color, but you get the idea, right? So as the week goes on and as the next 2 weeks goes on, we're definitely gonna talk more about symbols, colors, character styles, and that sort of thing, and really show you how design systems comes into play in this project, right? So I hope all of you really get inspired to create this amazing design system, and I would love to see it. So definitely publish it on Behance, throw it in the Slack channel, ask for feedback, give feedback, and tomorrow morning we'll be back using this design system to do something else. So I hope this was fun blowing through this design system, but I hope you have fun with this thing. It's a lot of fun, and it's gonna be a fun 2 weeks. So thanks for joining me, everyone. See you in Slack, see you on Twitter, see you on all those fun places, and stick around. We have some Photoshop stuff coming up in just a few minutes. I'll see you soon.